definitely a lot of like reaction to things as they were happening. There was also, I mean, you know, so much of it is being at the right place at the right time, right? So like a few things that happened for us during the launch of the brand that was, you know, very unique was one, the introduction of YouTube, right, as this video place that, and this is before modern YouTube, right? Like modern YouTube is all about the creator. This was viral YouTube. Like, can you make something that'll do 10 million plus views? Like all the people we were talking to in year one, no one else was automotive, but everybody else, you know, in sort of that same space we were in, were doing these massive 10, 20, 30, 40 million view videos. Like that's what you went to YouTube for, was to try to get virility out of it. And then we were there when, you know, we launched Ken's racing team. Was the same year that Facebook opened up pages for brands, because before that Facebook was just a, you know, it was, I mean, originally it was a college peer-to-peer thing and then became kind of more like a Friendster version of that. And it was, and then all of a sudden they allowed brands on, and we were there early as, you know, the Ken Block brand, and then later on the Hoonigan brand. And then a year after Hoonigan launched, Instagram started, and we were there so early that most people still thought Instagram was just a filter app called Hipstermatic. Like people didn't understand the difference early on. Like it was still felt like filters, right?
Yeah.
And people didn't realize it was its own platform. And we were there early on, and you know, and then, you know, we were always trying to be there early on. I think that's what our sort of our goal was. And you know, and then when YouTube shifted, we weren't there. There was a lot of people there before us, you know, Roadkill, Mighty Car Mods, a bunch of people were doing it, but we kind of came in with a brutality of like, oh, you guys are doing that once a week, that's cute, we're going to do this every day. Oh, you know what, we're going to do it twice a day. And at some point we were putting, you know, one point we were putting out 14 pieces of content a week, which I now apologize to everybody else on YouTube, because we certainly raised the bar of what people were expecting to create. But it was this idea of like, oh, we're a year or two late to the YouTube space. You know, Drive had already done their thing, Network A. We were helping with the Network A stuff, and a lot of the Drive guys were all old 0 to 60 guys, or connected to 0 to 60. But you know, we went in and we kind of, you know, just I think it was about, yeah, a sequence of things, but it was also like every time we got into something, we gave it our all. And we're like, really like, okay, let's take this really seriously. Like, let's really, really go after this, right? Like, everyone else was looking at Instagram as this thing they had to do. Like, oh, like, we got to make sure we do this, where we're having 3 hour meetings about what we're posting, right? Like when we decided we were going to do it, it was very kind of surgical on what we were doing. And, you know, I think one of the things that's often wasn't seen from the outside looking in was that we were very data driven, is to like what's working, what's not working. Where, because if you watch it again, you're like, how did these fucking idiots figure out how to do this stuff, right? But that was very much the perception versus the reality model, right? Of like, you know, there was a lot of hard work kind of put into it. I know everyone thinks all we did was do donuts in the parking lot. Donuts were unfortunately kind of only when the cameras were on. The rest of it was figuring out what was working, and, you know, and how do we keep doing it, right? Vinny, I was talking to Vinny the other day, and he was talking about, you know, just being sour about everything with Hoonigan. And I was like, you know, I was like, it's funny sometimes. I was like, you seem, you know, like it's an issue for you, more so than a lot of the rest of us. And he's like, it was such a good moment in our lives when it was perfect, like when it was all just working. He's like, and I really just wish I could go back to that.
But everybody,
Like it was
everybody
so
wishes for that
good
shit.
in this one moment, you know.
Anything
Yeah.
great that
No,
seems to like
But life,
be the way it goes.
life
right?
is not about 30 years of perfect moments.
No, I know.
It's looking back on the perfect moments that you've had and hoping you have a few more.
Someone said this to me the other day: success is not linear. And you know, I think happiness isn't linear either. You kind of have these different moments. And you know, when I was doing Hoonigan, I spent most of the time regretting that I didn't enjoy 0 to 60 more, because I was 0 to 60 for me very, you know, I failed out of college. Like, I didn't. All my other friends were way more successful. All my other friends went to college. None of the kids I grew up with went to college, but all of my friends who I went to school with, you know, had these jobs out of school and were doing well, and like, you know, we're living in a apartments by themselves, and I'm like still got like multiple roommates. Like nothing was felt like it was really working out for me. And so when like 0 to 60 actually hit, it was this like, a mix of imposter syndrome and everything else hit. And I was like, I will work an 18-hour day every day to make sure that this thing matters, right? And I will put, if everyone else got is smarter than me or got a step ahead of me or did all these other things, I will make up for it in time, right? Like I will just put the time in, as much time as I possibly can. And in doing so, while some of it I think came across, I think I kind of stopped enjoying it. Like I look
Yeah.
back now at some of the stuff I got to do, and I'm like, it was so cool that I got to do that. And it was like on and over, and then I was on to the next thing, and I was probably worried. While I was doing it, I was probably worried about the thing I had to do 5 days from then, instead of just being present in that moment. And Hoonigan was a lot of that too, and I think now I'm trying to be like, all right, I need to be like really enjoying the thing I'm doing today, because I have
Yeah.
this great history of 2 decades worth of stuff I've done in car culture. And look, there were moments that were amazing, but there's a lot of other moments where I was like, man, I wish I just stopped to smell the roses a little bit longer while I was there.
That's the
So
best piece of advice that you could.
It's crazy the way that works. When you like have success, you reach a point where you look back and you look at all those events. Like even in my career, I look back at all that stuff and you're like, holy fuck, dude, the things we were there, dude, we did that. We did that. And it's like,
But in
you
the
have to,
moment,
you
it
have
was
to like pinch yourself.
grind.
In the moment you were thrashing to get there, and you were probably nervous as fuck that whatever you built needed to perform, or you were so focused on that being a success for your business and your future. You didn't stop and like enjoy it.
And then halfway through, when it does perform, you're thinking about how the fuck are we going to top this?
Yeah, because
You're thinking
like, well,
about
now,
the next thing.
I got to
and
keep
it's
fucking rolling. People are going to expect
the,
this. Like,
the day's not over yet. At least fucking enjoy it and then think about that tomorrow.
It's almost like the double-edged
Yeah.
sword. Like you wouldn't have gotten there if you didn't have the passion for
Yep.
it. But then you can't appreciate everything that your passion got you because you're worried about staying at that level and building the next one.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's crazy, fucking crazy.